Good morning and welcome to our daily word from the Lord for this Holy Week 2020. Today is Wednesday, April the 8th. And during this week we've been looking at the stories of Jesus from the Gospel. And our theme has been the people of Holy Week and me. The people of Holy Week and me. And today we come to John chapter 13, beginning with verse 21. And this is the story of Jesus at dinner with his disciples, with his friends. At this point, at the table, Jesus became troubled in spirit and declared, "Very truly, I tell you, one of you will betray me." The disciples looked at one another, uncertain of whom he was speaking. One of his disciples, the one whom Jesus loved, was reclining next to him. Simon Peter, therefore, motioned to him to ask Jesus who he was talking about. So while reclining next to Jesus, he asked him, "Lord, who is it?" Jesus answered, "It is the one to whom I give this piece of bread when I've dipped it in the dish." So when he had dipped the piece of bread, he gave it to Judas, son of Simon Iscariot. After he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. Jesus said to him, "Do quickly what you are going to do." Now no one at the table knew what he said, why he said this to him. Some thought that because Judas had the common purse, Jesus was telling him, "Buy what we need for the festival," or that he should give something to the poor. So after receiving the piece of bread, he immediately went out, and it was night. In this story, we see Jesus at dinner with his friends. And in the middle of a time of celebration and a time of fellowship, Jesus drops a bombshell when he says, "One of you will betray me." Once again, as we think about the people of Holy Week, we see Jesus in an intimate setting with his disciples. This is the last sup in the upper room, and Jesus is there with his 12 disciples, whom he said to, "I no longer call you servants, but I call you friends." And so we can say that Jesus was there with his 12 friends. He had just washed their feet, every one of them. And imagine for a moment Jesus washing Peter's feet, the one who would betray him, and Judas' feet, the one who would deny him. The other way around, I'm sorry. It was Judas who betrayed him, and Peter who denied him 3 times. Jesus washed both of their feet. And I want to even push you a little further to imagine Jesus washing your feet as you are a friend of God and a disciple and a follower of God. I know what you're thinking. There's no way I can imagine that or think that or believe that Jesus would ever wash my feet. And even if he wanted to, I wouldn't let him. Well, you have some company, because that's exactly how Peter felt. When Jesus tried to wash his feet, Peter said, "No way, Lord, you're not going to wash my feet." But after Jesus explained to him, "Peter, if you don't allow me to wash your feet, you can't have a part of my mission and my ministry." And once Jesus had explained the need, the necessity, Peter said, "Okay, Lord, wash my feet and wash my head, my hands, everything." When everything is over, Jesus introduces this idea of betrayal. "One of you will betray me." And it turns out that it was Judas. And we see Judas get up and leave the group and leave the presence of Jesus and go out into the dark night, the dark night of the soul. This week we've been talking about the people of Holy Week. And of all the people of Holy Week, Judas is the most tragic. Don't you agree? And I don't know about you, but I'm humbled and really challenged by the story of Judas. And we don't like to talk too much about Judas. I understand. It's a tragedy of the highest order. And John explains it by saying after he received the piece of bread, Satan entered into him. The story of Judas makes me cry out like Peter did when Jesus told him it was necessary for Peter to have his feet washed by Jesus. When he said, "Peter, unless I wash your feet, you have no share with me." To which Peter replied, "Well then, Lord, wash my head, my hands, wash all of me, if that's the case, because I definitely want to be a part of you." When I think about Judas, that is my prayer too. I think about how Satan entered Judas and how Judas betrayed Jesus. And it makes me pray, Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner, and wash my head, my hands, my feet. Wash all of me and keep me where I need to be, close to thee. Amen. The song that I want to highlight for us to reflect on today is a song that is entitled, "I Am a Friend of God." The verse says, "Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? Is it true that you are thinking of me? How you love me? It's amazing that I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. I am a friend of God. He calls me friend." Amen. Let's pray. Lord, I thank you for the story of Judas that is a part of the people of Holy Week. We are humbled when we think about Judas, how you knelt there on the ground with a towel and a basin, and how you washed his feet, knowing that in another hour or two he would betray you. But you loved him just like you loved all the other disciples, and you loved him to the very end. And so may we be humbled and realize that we need to allow you to just continue to cover us by your grace and cover us with your blood.